After a recent surge in jellyfish sightings in Ocean City Beach Patrol is now reporting a decline in jellyfish stings following a change in the weather pattern.
This is so interesting. And joining us now live is Jenny Jansen, the assistant curator for the National Aquarium, to help shed some light on the shifts in sightings and what's going on here. So Jenny, thank you so much for joining us. And first question, in July, Ocean City Beach Patrol, they reported it saw an increase in jellyfish stings. So that went up. What do you think was the main cause for the uptick there in July?
You know, it could be a number of factors. There's so much going on within the oceans between the different types of foods and how hot it's been. Also how the temperature was hot so early on in the summer. There are some things that can trigger reproduction within these species as we have shifts in the water temperature and the salinities, especially with the rain or the dryness, depending on what's going on. So it can trigger a big round of reproduction, but then also if all the food sources are there along the way as they're growing in the following months, that can lead to a big bloom like this.
So then, Jenny, is it common to go ahead and see that many jellyfish this time of year near Delaware's and Maryland's beaches?
You know, it's not uncommon, I would say. We can see it, you know, every several years or something. Every year is a little bit different than the others, but if we are seeing big blooms like this, they typically are this time of year.
Okay, so Jenny, then our biggest question, obviously for families, maybe trying to sneak in one more beach vacation. If you're at the beach and you get stung by a jellyfish, what's the first thing you need to do, your first action?
Your first action would actually just to be rinse off that part of your body while you're still in the water. That way, if there's any tentacles stuck to you, you're rinsing it off with the water that you got stung in, because if you try to rinse it off with fresh water, this change in salinity might actually trigger some of those stinging cells to go off. So you want to wipe that off while you're in the water and then get out of the water. And you know, just watch for any signs. Hopefully it just makes you itch, like mosquito bites or something like that. But you know, if you see any other kinds of signs, definitely make sure you get some treatment.
And then, of course, speaking of those signs, what are the signs families need to be on the lookout for if you're, you know, in the water that a jellyfish could be close by? Is there any way to tell if one is near?
You know, most of the time, for most of the jellies that we have near shore in this area, not so much, because most of the time they're underwater. But if you do see them around, or if you see them washed up on the beach, then you know that there are some in the water column. But we're only seeing the first couple of feet in the water. Only if you see some of those Portuguese man o' war, which are those sort of like the blue inflated bubble that sits on top of the water, those are the only ones that you can really see on top. And those we don't see a ton in this area, especially where there are swimmers. Like you might see them where the fishermen or boaters go farther offshore.
Definitely.
But if you start to see them, then definitely sort of be looking out, and just if you see one, just sort of sidle away, but look at it because they're pretty cool.
I like your advice there, Jenny, and we will take it. If you see one, stay clear, give some space, look from afar. Jenny Jansen with the assistant curator for the National Aquarium. Thank you so much.